Just streaming or what? Welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report. I am your host, the infamous Ultimate One, and we are live. We are live. I was having some issues with the streaming, and I usually don't go live, but I figured, you know what? Let's go live now. So we could get some people in here, so we could talk. We could, do whatever we have to do. Um, Again, guys, I'm trying to do something different because usually what I do is I'll get here on YouTube and do a video or something important that happened in the world of wrestling, and then I'll do my audio podcast on Sundays. But I figured, why do all that when I could just do everything in one audio podcast or video podcast or live streaming podcast, doing it all in one shot, and you decide whether you want to come here on YouTube and watch the video, or you can listen to it through the audio, whether you're driving your car or you're running or whatever the case may be. So I figure, do that, stop giving myself stress, and just share whatever I have with my fans or whatever the case may be. So one thing I know, that when I'm here, I like to do my stuff here, and I enjoy doing it and sharing a lot of the information that is going out as far as when it comes to wrestling. As you guys know, I say it all the time, I've been watching wrestling for 47 years, so I come in here with some knowledge, but there's a lot of news going on that happened this week. The first one that we're going to talk is about Nash Carter, part of the MSK tag team and whatnot, and what happened to him. Now, during the weekend of Wrestlemania, Kimber Lee went and posted a picture of herself, looked like she was beat up, and she said that Nash Carter was abusing her. Now, I kind of found it strange that, that she was posting this stuff, and a lot of people were against it, and they were like saying, well, why in the world is this woman posting her personal stuff on Twitter, especially on Twitter, when we got a lot of people who already make judgment. They're the judge executioner, and they start talking about the craziest stuff and give their judgment on certain things and whatever. It kind of brought me back to what happened last year when we had the Speak Out movement. When we had all these wrestlers, I think it was 2020. It wasn't last year, but it was 2020. When we had a situation with Marty Scurll, we had Velveteen Dream, we had Michael Elgin, and I will be talking about Michael Elgin also. I forgot the other guy that used to do the bar wrestling. And the Speak Out movement just made a lot of wrestlers quit the scene. A lot of them were, accused, and the public eye already was started judging a lot of these characters, and some of them retired. Like a lot of them retired. I can't remember a lot of the guys because I haven't heard from them in 3 years. So I pretty much, forgot all about them. But when I saw this was Nash Carter and Kimber Lee, and Kimber Lee name didn't hit me right away that this is the same Kimber Lee who wrestles in Impact Wrestling. So I was saying to myself, okay, so we're having all this thing going on. Now and the minute she put that in there were guys defending Nash Carter. Oh, you're giving your one side story. I mean, to me, I always say any man who puts his hand on a woman is a coward. But I didn't want it to judge right away because I wanted to see where it was going to go. And sure enough, I believe it was Wednesday or Tuesday that the news came in that Nash Carter was fired. But he wasn't fired because of the allegations that Kimber Lee gave. He got fired because she posted a picture of him, taking a picture of him. I guess he shaved his mustache and made himself look like Hitler and took a picture. I said to myself, why would she do that? Why would she try to end a man's career? Is he really beating her? And I was like, wow, this Hitler stuff is going to end his career. But as days can continue and other podcasts started reporting, it seems that Kimber Lee was already, she was trying to get back at him for a situation where I guess he was dating another female, and I guess he got engaged and served her divorce paper. And what a better way than a woman to try to get revenge on a man to do some heinous stuff, and nothing worse than a woman scorn than to get back at you, than to put a picture of him from 8 years ago. And that pretty much ended probably his wrestling career right now. But the thing is, whether he did that, put the picture, probably he was joking, because we can't judge. We can't say, oh, he's a Nazi, neo-Nazi type of guy. We do stuff behind the scene in our private lives, and we probably do stupid stuff, but we don't share it and whatnot. But for you to do something like that to a guy who's had a promising career with, part of MSK, they gave him the NXT tag team titles this past Sunday or Saturday, standalone takeover, whatever it was called. And then for this to happen, and for WWE automatically go and fired him, it's crazy, because it's like you didn't fire him when Kimber Lee was, accusing him of him beating on her, which I don't believe it either, because she's a woman wrestler. You're gonna tell me, you being a woman wrestler, you can't fight a man, you can't beat him up or whatever. And then, even if those pictures she has of her with scratches, a busted little lip or scratches, whatever, that could have been done by her, or that could have been in a wrestling match and she took pictures, but used it as, for her to have pity. She got caught lying, saying that she didn't know Wes's wife, she didn't know them, and then Wes's wife had to put pictures online and say, look, yes, she does know me. So pretty much, I don't know what's going to happen to her, because I don't know if she's still contract with Impact Wrestling, if I'm correct, if she is or not, or she got let go. But this is some crazy stuff in wrestling. It brought me back to the Speak Up movement when I saw those pictures, when I saw everything. And now this is a drama and a half, if you think about it. It is drama and a half. And you have to something you can't judge, because somebody put something on social media and right away you have these wrestling fans start judging. And there were a lot of people was not happy with her when she started posting a lot of her pictures about her being getting beat by Nash Carter. Some people said this is not a place for you to air out your laundry. It's not a place to make yourself looking for pity. And then I guess the whole thing, she continued to lie, whatever it was, and it came back to bite her in the ass, because now, everybody knows she was lying. And I see it as a revenge. She got served divorce papers, and her way to getting back at him was posting this picture and got him fired. You understand what you did? You just made a man who probably put his wrestling, this was his career. And you just pretty much did this to get back at him, and he may never wrestle again. There's a possibility that probably some promotion or some, maybe Impact will bring him back. He was part of I forgot the name of the group that he was part of, Trey Miguel. And, he might go back to Impact. You never know. Because, like I said, that picture's 8 years old. 8 years. So basically, that was in 2014? So maybe he did that in his private of his own home. It doesn't really matter whether he did it or not. It's just the bottom line is that, that's his private. That was a private picture with it. How she got her hands on it, we don't know. Did he still had it in his phone? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep something like a picture like that, you shouldn't keep it, because whether you was joking around or not, whatever your preferences, whatever you do behind in your private time, you pretty much, why you saved that picture. How the hell she got her hands on that picture? You know what I'm saying? And now it cost you your job with NXT. You was part of the NXT Tag Team Championship. They gave you the belt, and then 3 days later, now you don't have it. Now those belts are up for, I guess a tournament, or somebody's gonna go and how you call it, end up winning those tag team belts. But what's gonna happen with Wes? So it's just crazy. In other WWE news, Roman Reigns supposedly They're claiming that he got hurt in his match with Brock Lesnar. I didn't see the match. I'm hearing a lot of people saying that the match was not great at all because it was spear, suplex, through the whole match. And people, I guess, a typical Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar match. Now, was I surprised that Roman won the belt? No. Now, my question is, he's walking around with 2 belts now. So why don't they just unify the belt, create another different belt, and come up with something? Because those WWE belts with a big W on it, it's just it looks cheap. Those belts look cheap. I'm sorry, they might have the studded diamonds on it and all that. They look cheap. They need to, change things around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Change things around. It's crazy, but. I don't know. I think they're going to unify the tag team belts. As you saw last night at SmackDown, if you saw SmackDown, Roman Reigns told the Usos he wants them to go to Raw and get those belts. Is it a possibility they're going to be able to do that? If they do that, that means they are unifying the belts and they're unifying the world title. If they don't do that and the Usos lose, they're pretty much telling you that Roman Reigns and his tribal chief storyline is going to come to an end soon. I don't know how, but because right now, if you look at it, they don't have a legit babyface, someone that's going to give Roman Reigns a run for his money except Cody. Now, Cody just got there. So how is that going to help? How is that, because right now, Cody's supposed to wrestle The Miz come this Monday. I think he's probably going to win that match by disqualification. Something's going to happen because I think Miz is still feuding with the Mysterios after he turned on Paul Logan or whatever his name is and whatnot. So, it's interesting. We'll see because Cody made that promo, which they're saying that it was scripted. But if it was scripted, it could have been he typed it all out. It was familiar with the same thing he did in AEW. That's what I'm going to say right now. The only difference was that he talked about how his father never got to hold the WWF at that time or the WWE title ever, the world title. Back in 1977, in September of 1977, he had a wrestling match with superstar Billy Graham. And it looked like Dusty Rhodes won the title, and it turned out that he didn't. And you could see the picture that night when Cody was talking about it. He was holding the belt, and that was the only time that Cody was ever able to hold that belt. Not Cody, Dusty. Hold the belt, but he didn't win the match. So Cody doing a promo that sounded so similar to what he did in AEW tells you that he probably wrote it himself and got approved by Vince McMahon. Now, where's Cody going to be at this time? I don't know. But there's also word coming in that from Cody saying that he promised to give AEW stars honest advice or joining WWE. I think Cody's going to be used by Vince McMahon once an AEW star's contract ends in AEW to try to bring him in to WWE, because, to me, Cody had a lot of friends. He probably had a lot of people probably didn't like him in AEW, but I'm sure there's other wrestlers that really liked him. So if their contract is up, I'm sure Cody could be like, well, I could talk to this guy, we could bring him in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting if, and I say if, whoever, let's say, contract is up and they feel they need to come to WWE because Cody's there, it could happen. I could see Cody doing that. I could actually see Cody doing that and trying to, have any wrestler. I don't know whose contract is up soon. Or he could try to bring in MJF. MJF is 2 more years. His contract is up. And if Cody's still there, he could bring him in. It's not like MJF's never been in WWE because he played that bodyguard with Samoa Joe, whatever. But We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. So now let's talk about you know William Regal, who reacted to Triple H leaving the boots in the ring at WrestleMania. He said that he was pretty much happy that Triple H did his thing. And I mean, I was kind of surprised that Triple H actually did that on WrestleMania. I mean, and I said it in my podcast last week where they show Triple H at the Hall of Fame. He looked at like he was miserable, like he didn't even want to be there. So William Regal, seeing him retire, I guess to what I read was he was contempt that William Regal, actually Triple H retired, whatever. And it's funny because I remember William Regal wrestling in WCW and Triple H being terrorizing at that time. And I think that one time they teamed up together at one night in WCW. So, those two were the pea in the pods. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, Triple H retires, William Regal was let go. Pretty much, like I said, Triple H, the fact that he's retired is because his father-in-law. His father-in-law drove him over the edge, if you really think about it. He drove him over the edge, and he had heart problems, and then he ended up had to retire. I mean, I think Triple H still had probably another year on him because he still looks fit. But, it's sad to see Triple H retire. But he has so many, many wonderful matches that I remember seeing as far as him with Mick Foley, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Batista, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, in those matches, even though he had a bad reputation for people saying him burying certain people, him having issues with Bill Goldberg, him having issues with Big Papa Pump. And for him not to retire, it's crazy. So, And another news that I saw this week was AEW star Toni Storm admits that she nearly retired from wrestling. Listen, I don't blame her. After what WWE did to her. You know what I'm saying? She was in NXT UK. She was like the NXT Women's UK champion for a very long time. She was well known. People loved her. And the minute she came to NXT up here in the United States, and then they moved her to SmackDown, and that's where the big embarrassment. They embarrassed her. I mean, Charlotte Flair has the nerves to say, Toni Storm is a great wrestler, whatever, and I wish we could have worked longer. But you're at fault. You the one who was responsible for making her look bad because you play politics in the back. She plays politics in the back. And Charlotte Flair is horrible. I mean, I was watching her match with her and Ronda Rousey, and the woman can't do a moonsault. Why are you doing a moonsault? Her moonsaults are horrible. So, Toni Storm says she was about to retire, and what I'm reading here, she has said, I put my entire life into becoming the best professional wrestler I could be. I lost that part of myself, and it brought on a lot of feelings and emptiness and sadness that I can't even describe. I traveled the entire world to be good at this. And there she goes, go to WWE, and WWE, of course, they only push the people they want. And I know people who are watching this may say, well, you know what? You're always putting down WWE, but it's the facts. You're pushing Toni Storm and Charlotte Flair. Could have had a nice little storyline. It could have been long-term booking. It would have been a great match. But instead, they embarrass Toni Storm. You bring back Ronda Rousey, like they're calling her from other podcasts. Ronda Rousey don't even want to be there. She doesn't want to be there. She's acting like she wants to be there. I mean, she's going along with the storyline, but she doesn't really want to be there because she doesn't like getting booed. People, I mean, there was a report that I know. There you go. The report of Wrestlemania Statistics shows significant decrease in the fan interest in Ronda Rousey. You know what I'm saying? They brought in Ronda Rousey, Meltzer, who was the one who knows the interest in the SmackDown Women's Championship match, and Ronda Rousey especially was low for the show. He said, as far after the show complete interest level, everything like the Google or Mania, Cody was number 1, Austin was number 2, Roman was number 4, and Ronda Rousey was not high, which is an interesting one because she's been so high going in. So the bloom is off. The Ronda Rousey rose, by the way. So nobody cared. Ronda Rousey was wrestling Charlotte, and this is what I'm talking about. They could have, they could have done something with Tony Storm. It could have had a long term. It probably would have affected the Rumble, whatever, and maybe later on, Tony Storm could have moved on to doing something else, but they didn't. That embarrassed her, and she almost quit. And now she's in AEW. She's in AEW. So, also, and it's funny that we're talking about Toni Storm, another female wrestler who I saw the scrum from Ring of Honor last week. Mercedes Martinez reveals why she left Retribution. She said, not to take away from anything that anybody in that group, they have their own decisions to make. For me personally, in my career in 20 years, I really didn't want to change anything that I had worked so hard for. Again, bringing the fact that Mercedes Martinez, another one who was part of Retribution, the failed faction that WWE tried to bring in, and they wanted to change her name. I forgot what was her name, but she felt that, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to change something that I worked for 20 years. The woman's been in the independent scene for 20 years. And here you go, and you bring her up from NXT to put her in this faction, and boom. You're trying to, change the woman, her name, whatever. And she felt like, no, I'm not doing this. I worked too hard for that. It's crazy. It is crazy for anyone to even try to change. I mean, I don't understand why WWE just look. Right now, they just show when Cody came. Cody using the American Nightmare name. He's using the same theme song and whatnot. But that's for now. That is for now. Who knows if he's maybe 6-7 months from now. They might change his theme song. They might change his look and whatnot. Surprised he still got the blonde hair. And who knows if he'll be in the title picture here from now April all the way to December, where he will be at. Because that's what I'm saying. Like, they try to change things. And I understand. They do this with everybody. They did it with Walter. Now his name is Gunter. It's crazy. So, I don't know. It just amazes me and whatnot on how WWE works. And don't get me wrong. The WrestleMania Night 1 was good. It was pretty good. It was decent. I won't say it was great. It was decent. I was surprised that Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestled that night against Kevin Owens. But, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor drew over 20,000 buys. And that's a good move. I mean, this hasn't been done since, I think, Best in the World, probably 2018 and whatnot. But Tony Khan taking over Ring of Honor is a good move. And think about it. We're talking about Tony Khan. Tony Khan, even though I saw him in the scrum, and when he's in there, I don't know if he's drinking too much Red Bull. He be hyper. He just, you could tell he's a real mark. He gets on the mic, he's screaming and all that. That's a little turn off for me. But if you think about it, he owns 2 wrestling companies in less than 3 years. Okay, he owns Ring of Honor, and the whole fact that he was able to grab Ring of Honor Supercard from the guys who had Ring of Honor, which was Sinclair at that time, and was able to pretty much create a card. It was a great pay-per-view last week. Great card. The FTR versus the Briscoe was off the hook, and you can't ask for anything better than that. You can't ask for anything better. The whole card. You had Willow Nightingale against Mercedes Martinez, great match. You had Minoru Suzuki winning the Ring of Honor TV title by defeating Red Titus. I mean, the Jay Lethal versus who lethal for last week that I know he cheated. Matter of fact, Lee Moriarty. So it was a great card overall, and that's a good thing when it comes to you know, the fact that Ring of Honor right now is owned by by Tony Khan, and not only that, he may put guys like Jonathan Gresham to put the Ring of Honor World Title on the line, and they're not going to use the new title. They're not using the recent one that Bandito had. Ring of Honor, they're going to use the old Ring of Honor that Jonathan Gresham has been carried since February, and that's going to be the title that he feels that it needs to be honor and respect. So that's going to be interesting. Wrestlemania statistics show a significant decrease. We already talked about that. Decrease on Ronda Rousey. We talked about the WWE announced WrestleMania 38 was the highest grossing event in the company history, but they're combining it. So it's again WWE trying to make themselves look like, oh, we did so great. I mean, 70,000 fans on night one, and maybe another 80,000 night two. That's not bad. Overall, 150,000 fans on 2 nights showed up for this event. I mean, I'm very surprised that they were able to have that much, because I think last year they only had 40,000 in both nights. They did a 30,000 increase, but I knew they weren't going to sell out. A lot of people were not going to come to that event, but even though night one was better than night two, but we'll see. They have to change things around. They have to. It's just, you can't. There's no way in the world continue doing the same thing. So, also we have here Tony Khan gives his thoughts on Cody Rhodes' WrestleMania WWE return on WrestleMania. He said that he did lose a very prominent free agent, but he was debuting on Wednesday, Samoa Joe, where we saw Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe is wrestling, I believe, if I'm correct, Minoru Suzuki next Wednesday. You can't ask for anything better for the Ring of Honor TV title on the line. He said in the past, Tony Khan said in the past 30 days, we're also debuted Toni Storm, who we just spoke about, who was incredible last week in her win against the Bunny, and Jeff Hardy, one of the biggest stars in wrestling. He said, we have a lot of excitement happening here, and that's our focus. Which, it's crazy. But AEW may be having some problems coming very soon. And that is, there's going to be a very important change coming for the future AEW. Kathleen Finch, the former chief lifestyle brand officer at Discovery, will be the person to put in charge at TBS as part of the Warner Media and Discovery merger. So the station will have her vision. So what that means is, you know how AEW always got that blood, like we saw with Wheeler Yuta this week with Jon Moxley. She may come on in there. This is the problem when it comes to wrestling. She may just come in there and be like, "No, you can't have blood in the wrestling matches, or you can't have cursing in this." And this would happen with WCW when Time Warner went and bought WCW. They vision was a stupid vision. When you got people in suits, people in corporate that don't know nothing about professional wrestling, they are going to come in and damage the product. And this is not good. This is not a good sign for anybody when it comes to AEW, because I think they re-up is 2024, and this is not good at all, because they said they're going to put it at her vision. We don't know what her vision is. She may hate wrestling. Who knows? These people in suits and little dresses may not like what Tony Khan is doing. Also, Michael Elgin, and I had brought that up earlier, to return to pro wrestling at Noah on April 30th. Now, Michael Elgin got fired 2 years ago from Impact Wrestling because he was reported he was sending explicit text messages to female wrestlers and other stuff, and this is not the first time this man has done such a thing. Also, he is suing Impact Wrestling because he claims there's a breach of contract. I think he's not going to win that. So Michael Elgin is coming back to wrestling. Now, This is not good because not only that, not only him trying to come back, but I saw Marty Scurll doing something with I forgot the guy's name. Then oh my, Flip Gordon. I saw him doing something on Instagram, and if you let guys like that come back into the wrestling, you're letting everybody else. You might as well just let all these people who were back in the days doing little dirt behind the scene and all that stuff. That's just me. So Michael Elgin is supposed to be returning back to Noah. I don't know if he's ever going to be wrestling here in the States. I don't think it's ever going to happen, with the bad reputation he has already. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. So also the Briscoe brother is announced for April Impact Wrestling tapings. That's going to be interesting to see the Briscoes coming into to Impact and wrestle probably the Good Brothers. I mean, I think they had a match already with the Good Brothers at the Multiverse that they had this past weekend. Aew Dynamite. We saw AEW Dynamite open up a great match between Adam Cole and Christian Cage. This match was awesome with both guys giving it all, but Cole stole the match after he pretty much poked Christian in the eye. And after he pinned him, Red Dragon comes in and jumps Christian, which brought in Jurassic Express. And then Hangman Page came into the ring to challenge Adam Cole in a Texas Death Match for next Friday, I think it is. So I still see Adam Cole beating Hangman Page for that belt because that's going to be the seed that's going to be planted. So when Kenny Omega comes back and have his little feud with Adam Cole. Owen Hart qualifying match saw Samoa Joe beat Max Caster. Samoa Joe dominated Max Caster and afterward hit his muscle buster. I haven't seen him hit that in a long time. Samoa Joe then gets interrupted by Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt. And that's probably going to be a problem when, when Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt show up next week. They say they got a surprise for him. And Samoa Joe's supposed to wrestle Minoru Suzuki for the Ring of Honor TV title. Maybe they cost him the match. Who knows what it is. We saw a promo with the Blackpool Combat Club setting up for the matches for Rampage. We saw Shaun D versus Shawn Spears. This storyline is getting good because with the Warlord stuff. I mean, MJF came out with a commentary like always, and then security at the back was taken out by Warlord. Warlord took like about 8 guys back there, and it wasn't until when he got to the ringside area where the 3 big muscle guys stopped him from going after MJF. It kind of pretty much distracted Shawn Spears, who got pinned by Shawn Dean. So Shaun D got a win over MJF and Shawn Spears. So that's interesting. Afterwards, Shaun Dean left and Warlord laughing because he just cost Shawn Spears the match. We had our best friend promo. We saw Yuta and Trent having issues again. I see Yuta joining the Blackpool Combat Club. Eddie Kingston promo. To show what happened in the back with the Jericho Appreciation Society and Kingston and the Power and Powerful. Pretty much Eddie Kingston told Jericho Appreciation Society is on site when they catch him. So, but it's still 3. I still say it's 3-on-5. You need to get 2 other people involved in this. You can't have this because they're gonna get beat up every week. We had the Hook and Danhausen promo, which is a little funny. Jade Cargill promo. She did another promo. She's wrestling. I forgot the girl's name. She used to be in part of the 4 Horsewomen with Ronda Rousey. MJF promo challenge Shaun Dean. Tables match. We saw Butch and the Blade against the Hardys. This match is one thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to criticize, as a lot of people think I don't criticize AEW. Whoever made this match was kind of stupid. I'm going to tell you why. Because the match was a tables match. No disqualification. Now, in the middle of the match, Excalibur claimed, well, there's elimination. Elimination for what? If there's no disqualification. So supposedly, Jeff Hardy got eliminated first. Then Butcher got eliminated. So now, okay, so these guys are eliminated, so those 2 guys should leave. They left Matt Hardy and Blade to go at it. But the Hardys won that match when Jeff threw himself on the top of the damn, how you call it? From the top of the ladder and landed on Blade through the table. And the match was over. I found that very stupid. I don't know who came up with this idea. If it's a tables match, the whole concept of the match is to throw your opponent through the table. Why you even got elimination style? If that was going to be the case, then you need to tell the Jeff, go to the back. If Butcher got pinned, go to the back. They ain't do none of that. None of it. It was crazy. The AFO comes out afterwards, so does Sting. And I thought Darby was going to come up, but I didn't see Darby anywhere to be found. So I don't know where they're going with this storyline. I'm tired. To be honest, I'm tired of this AFO thing. I'm really tired of it. I'm like, can we change this a little bit? You know, why you got Andrade with Private Party, Butch and the Blade? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, like, come on. Andrade is better than this. You know what I'm saying? Then we had the Owen Hart qualifier match. We had Julia Hart versus Hiroki Shida. Julia kicks out the Varsity Blonde, which I found that weird. And I still say Julia Hart's going to join the House of Black because she got blinded by them. So that's going to happen. But Julia kicked out the Varsity Blonde and it looks like she'll be joining the House of Black. But Shida ends up beating her. And then afterwards, Serena Deeb tried to attack Shida from behind with a chair, but got caught. And then we had like a standoff, but Deep's left. Then we had the Swerve promo. Swerve gets attacked by Team Taz and whatnot by Hobbs and Starks, but Keith Lee comes in to help him. He puts Hobbs through a wall, which was very interesting. He looked like the Incredible Hulk when he did that shit. So then we have one of the best tag team matches, again, in less than a week. We saw the Young Bucks versus the FTR for the Ring of Honor and the AAA tag team titles. This match was awesome. I mean, there's no other word to describe it. FTR to me is the best tag team in the world right now. Okay, they old school style and now done walking around with two belts with the Ring of Honor and the AAA, but they ended up defeating the Young Bucks, but it wasn't easy. These two teams went at it and it was a classic. FTR versus Young Bucks 2, classic. And the fact that the FTR had a classic match with the Briscoe, then another classic match with the Young Bucks, what that tells you, in less than a week. FTR right now is the best tag team in the world. The FTR killed it again last Wednesday. Rampage had Moxley, actually not Moxley, Danielson versus Trent. That was a good match. Trent called Danielson on a toupee suicida. He turned it into a Saito suplex on the outside, which was very interesting and whatnot. But then Danielson kind of, returned the favor because he caught Trent. I think he was trying to jump over the Roboson and got caught and got thrown straight to the steel steps. This was a great match between the both of them, but Danielson pretty much knocked out Trent and he ends up winning the match. Madden of the Year promo and Sammy Guevara and Ty, cringe. That's all I gotta say. This is not interesting me no more because Ty Conti has become the other Brandy Rose. Turn off the TV. Sammy Guevara and them two. I can't. They still with this Man of the Year thing, feuding with Sammy. I mean, they're not doing nothing with the TNT belt right now. So. Swerve versus QT Marshall. This was a convincing win by Swerve. I like what Swerve is doing lately. They continue the Ricky Starks and Swerve back and forth situation, so they still feuding with that. We saw Willow Nightingale versus Red Velvet. I wasn't happy about this match because Willow has been a big fan favorite for a while, and her showing at Ring of Honor Supercard versus Mercedes Martinez gave her the opportunity for her to qualify for the Owen Hart tournament, but they gave it to Red Velvet. Don't know why, but they gave it to Red Velvet. That's not cool. I didn't like the fact that they gave it this match to Red Velvet. People booed. Red Velvet will never. I cannot get over her. Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta, one of the best matches, and I kept been saying it for a while. Wheeler Yuta, when he started with AEW, they made him look like he did not know what he was doing in the ring. His first encounter with Jon Moxley, Moxley beat the bricks out of him in less than 2 minutes. Okay, this is when Moxley was going through his whole alcohol situation after that he disappeared. They fought again. He gave Moxley a run for his money. But then again, I guess that was a part of the storyline. But then again, we didn't know if they were going to do the Blackpool Combat Club because William Regal was still with NXT. And Danielson, I think at that time, had just got there. So this match, Wheeler Yuta and gave it to Moxley. I mean, even before the bell rang, he jumped over the top rope and landed on Moxley and started beating on him. But then, of course, Moxley being Moxley, he busted Yuta's head when he stomped Yuta into the steel diamond plate steps, and the blood was running. And then Yuta hit a body press from the top rope to the outside that landed on Moxley and through a table, which was incredible. This was incredible. And then you had Yuta getting out of the Paradise Shift not once, but twice. Twice. This was a great match. But then, Moxley tried to choke him out. That didn't work. But then he tried to choke out Moxley with the Bulldog choke. That didn't work. But Mox had to choke him out in order to beat Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta, who just won the pure ROH title. I don't know if it's a world title, but it's a pure ROH title. And he showed a lot of courage. And I know what Wheeler Yuta is made of because I saw Wheeler Yuta 2 years ago. And when I saw him, I was very impressed. He wrestles in New Japan. He does all that stuff. And, William Regal shook his hand. He shook his hand and whatnot. Gave him the respect that he deserved and that he should have been deserved a long time ago. But, I guess AEW was, I don't know what they were planning to do with him, but it's crazy. I know I put something, let me see. FTR explained why they fired Tully Blanchard as their manager. They said that he wasn't focused. Scott Norton joins Bullet Club for a 12-man tag team at New Japan Windy City Riot, which is going to be incredible. Former NWO joins the Bullet Club, which is going to be a 12. I think it's a 12-man. Yeah, 12-man tag team coming up. I think it's 8 on Windy City Riot. I think it's April 16th. I could be wrong, but it's a lot of stuff going on in wrestling. But that is it for me today, guys. So I just gave you probably 30-40 minutes of probably 30, about 45 minutes of what's going on in wrestling. But if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also follow my store, my merchandise store at tcwr.veryimpressive.com. You can follow me there. You can follow this broadcast. It will be an audio format. You can follow in Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, what else? Amazon Music, Anchor, any major audio podcast that you guys like to listen to your favorite show. In case you don't want to sit in front of a computer and listen to this, will be turned into audio so you guys can listen to it. So that is it for me today, this week, guys, and hopefully we'll see what happens this week. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in wrestling, especially in AEW. Again, looking forward for that big match, Samoa Joe versus Minoru Suzuki. That is a dream match. And AEW has been putting dream matches on as of late. So as New Japan Strong, and I think New Japan World has joined with AEW to show, I believe, it's Rampage on their broadcast. So a lot of things going on in wrestling. And if you're a professional wrestling fan, you could enjoy it. If you're a sports entertainment fan, I guess you like watching WWE. That's on you. But I'm not going to keep knocking WWE. I'm just going to tell you what it is. And you see your own stuff. You guys see it on Monday nights. You see it on Friday nights. Again, I don't know where Roman Reigns is going with his titles now that he's beating almost everybody. The only one I could think of that he should be having a challenge with is pretty much Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes going to have to get wins or whatever in order for him to get that to happen. So that is it for me today, guys. I will see you guys next week. Top Guy outs.